Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So this is a video that I have been wanting to make for a very long time because ever since we did have that Messi situation and him potentially leaving FC Barcelona, I think that one of the best things to do is to not try and prevent this situation from going on, but how can we adapt to this situation? What do we need to do in order for us to continue to compete in the highest level of football? And so in this video, I'm going to be talking about 3 players that will be fundamentally important for Ronald Koeman in the next season, and why those 3 players do have a point to prove. And so starting with Frenkie de Jong. This is a player that came into this club last season with high expectations. Many fans loved this signing. Everybody knew that de Jong had the Barcelona DNA when he did play at Ajax, and he showed his quality in the 2018-2019 season. But unfortunately at Barcelona, that was not the case. In those first 5 games, we immediately saw de Jong's role change into a different direction. And to put it into simple terms, de Jong was not being placed in that same role. And the main reason why is because Busquets was taking that place. Busquets was prioritized more on top of de Jong. And because Busquets was playing that center defensive role, he was that player to decide the flow and pace of that match. And I am talking about in the era of Valverde and in some cases Quique Setién. And to basically sum up the problem in our midfield throughout the whole 2019-2020 season, our midfield was very horizontal. We were doing so many side passes to the point where we can officially say that this Barcelona midfield, this Barcelona team, were very reserved and very cautious on where they do place their passes. And that brought us to the question, why even bring in Frenkie de Jong if we're going to be playing in this way? Because de Jong is a player that does play vertical. He is a player that likes to take risk. He likes to move forward. And Koeman did assess de Jong's situation at Barcelona, and he said this: I remember attending a Barcelona game and I saw him play a position where I wouldn't play him as a coach. You have spent a lot of money on a young player. You should then play him in his own position where he can perform in a way you expect from him. He's shown at Ajax and with the Dutch national team which position suits him best, and that is where he will be playing at FC Barcelona. And so that's a great thing to hear, right? That's a great first step to take. And there has also been reports that Koeman has spoke to Busquets, and he did say that his role is going to be taking a step down. He will be playing that substitute role. Most likely he won't be sold, but de Jong will now officially be prioritized more over Busquets. And I'm so happy to see that. I am happy to see that Koeman is adding more importance towards de Jong because quite simply, he is a player for the future and he can bring that identity to FC Barcelona. And so what does this mean, right? What does it mean by finally putting de Jong in the right position? What does it mean now that de Jong is going to be held responsible by playing Busquets' role? And this is telling me 2 things. 1, he will be deciding the flow of this game because this is a player that wants the ball. He loves to have possession. He likes playing with the ball. He looks for the open spaces going forward, and then he looks for a left winger or right winger. And he is very effective going forward because going back to the original problem, when we did have Busquets in that role, because of him and the other midfielders, we built up extremely slow and we waited patiently to the point where I felt like Barcelona really did welcome the opposition to get back into their defensive shape, and that was a huge problem. Barcelona was not that team that looked very fierce going forward. They took their time, but placing de Jong in that position would automatically give us that high risk, high reward situation. De Jong is that player that does want to move forward and look to see where he can do damage, because honestly, having Busquets in that role only made us look positionally restricted. And the second thing that this will bring, if de Jong is played in that role, is that he's going to be welcoming all the pressure. He loves to get pressured. He is not a player that cannot be dealing with pressure because de Jong knows his quality. He knows that he's technical enough. He knows that he's physically capable enough to handle the pressure from the opposition. If we look at de Jong at Ajax, he welcomed the pressure so much that he dropped as a center back, and he was so comfortable in that position that he glided around the players and again went to the open spaces and looked to see where he can do damage. And the reason why I say that this is so important is because if we look in the match between Barcelona and Bayern Munich, one of the biggest problems Barcelona did have was that they cannot deal with the pressure from Bayern Munich. Players like Busquets, Sergio Roberto, Semedo, Jordi Alba, and sometimes maybe even Piqué, they were not able to handle the pressure from Bayern Munich. And so with having de Jong in that position, he will be able to navigate away from that, and then away you go. We're on the counter. And so that is why I say it's so important. So if Barcelona, Koeman, and everyone in the technical staff area can talk to de Jong and have him understand his role and make him understand that he will be the player to start the play instead of finishing the play, then this squad here, this starting 11, whatever it may be in the next season, will birth a new identity. And so moving on to the next player, we are going to be talking about Antoine Griezmann. And just like De Jong, there were high expectations when Griezmann did come into FC Barcelona. He was supposed to be that player that was supposed to take the load off of Lionel Messi by scoring those goals, providing those assists. Because why wouldn't you think that? Griezmann is a World Cup winner. He is a player that knows what it takes to win major trophies. And it's embarrassing to ask at this time and say, how is Griezmann not mentioned as one of Barcelona's best players? And this is going to be very similar to De Jong's situation, because at Atletico Madrid under Simeone, he did play in a system of 4-4-2. He sometimes did play in front of a second striker, or he was that second striker. And there were also times where he did play right wing, left wing, but 90% of the time he was either playing the striker role or the second striker. And because of that, he was able to roam free around the opposition's box. He was able to express himself, score goals, provide assists. And now going to FC Barcelona, there were so many times where we did have to question and say, where's Griezmann going to fit in this Barcelona squad? Because when we did try a 4-3-3 formation under Valverde, Griezmann was put on the left wing. And when you are put on that left wing area in Barcelona, you are expected to hug the touch line and bring the pace and take down defenders. But it did not work. Griezmann was not that player to do that. It was not what he was made to do. Because one of the biggest problems of putting Griezmann on the left wing is that he is naturally a left-footed player. And because you are naturally a left-footed player, the only real threat you can bring when attacking is crossing the ball into either Luis Suarez or Lionel Messi. But that's about it. He had no angle to shoot. And this is where it gets very important, right? There were moments where Griezmann had to shift into the middle in order to open up the pitch for himself so he can have the ability to have a chance to shoot. But here's the problem. With Griezmann shifting his position into the middle, that was where he collided with Lionel Messi. That is why we say that Griezmann was not able to express himself, because Messi took his position. And so there was that problem. There was that constant tension of having Griezmann and Messi collide. And because Barcelona were so reserved and cautious on their decision making, that greatly translated badly to Antoine Griezmann. He was very unconfident on what to do. He did not know if he needed to cross or shoot. And he simply just looked very unconfident. And then going to the 4-4-2 formation, this is really simple. He was placed on the left wing in that 4-man midfield, and that greatly hindered his attacking presence. But the only great thing that he did bring by playing that position was that his defensive work rate was really, really good. And that's about it. But the problem is, we did not pay 112 million euros for him to do defensive work. We paid 112 million euros to take the load off Lionel Messi and score those goals and be that world-class player that Griezmann was at France and at Atletico Madrid. Lucky enough, Koeman did speak about Antoine Griezmann, and he said the exact same story goes for Griezmann. With all due respect, but Griezmann is no winger. Griezmann has to play on a position where he is used to play, and that fits his qualities. As a coach, it all starts with playing your players on the right position, and that makes it clear the focus is going to be on Antoine Griezmann. Koeman will be trying to assess Antoine Griezmann's role and see how he can get the best out of this player. So now the question is, how do we use Antoine Griezmann? And I really do think that Koeman is going to choose that route where he is going to want Griezmann's defensive work rate, because Griezmann's work rate defensively is way too good to ignore. And knowing that Koeman does want to build a more physically demanding FC Barcelona, with that being said, I think that Koeman is going to be placing Antoine Griezmann as the second striker, or if not, play as a attacking midfielder. And it makes sense, right? Because if Griezmann is placed in that position, you will have a greater chance of having the whole Barcelona squad hunt for that ball down, retain the ball as soon as possible, and get those goals in. And the best way to do that is to have Griezmann play that attacking midfield role. And that does build other conversations like, okay, does that mean that we're going to see a 4-2-3-1 formation in FC Barcelona? But that's going to be another discussion that we can have later. But as of now, I'm going to go with Koeman not using Griezmann as the ideal number 9, a true number 9, but as a second striker or as a attacking midfielder. There's also been rumors that Griezmann might take the number 7 jersey. So Griezmann is going to play a very, very important role in Koeman's FC Barcelona. And to be honest, Griezmann has my full backing. I think that Griezmann does have the quality to succeed in FC Barcelona. There has been many doubters, and I get it. I get why people will doubt Griezmann, but if placed in the right position, Griezmann can get the job done. And with scoring 15 goals and providing 4 assists in all competitions in his first season with FC Barcelona, being placed in the wrong position, I think with Griezmann being placed in the right position, he can get the job done. He can be a very important player under Koeman, and hopefully Koeman can get this right. And now moving on to the last player, and that is Felipe Coutinho. So this is a gamble, right? Because we don't know if Coutinho is going to stay at Barcelona or leave. Because after the match between Barcelona and Bayern Munich, Coutinho did have that interview. One of the last words that he did say is that he's going to go to Barcelona and talk to Koeman and see what were the plans and what they were going to do, because Coutinho wants to continue to improve and work hard. And that is the most important thing, right? Is that Koeman does need to have that conversation with Coutinho and tell Coutinho, this is what your role is going to be. Are you going to accept it or are you not going to accept it? And funny enough, this is what Setien wanted to do in this summer, because honestly, who doesn't want Coutinho in their starting 11? Coutinho is a wanted man in FC Barcelona, so regardless, he was going to get talked to. And coincidentally enough, Coutinho is actually the third player in this list that's looking for his natural position. And I shouldn't try and explain Coutinho's problem at FC Barcelona. We should all know why Coutinho did not play his best football in this club. But going back to that discussion with Griezmann playing that attacking midfield role, what would that mean for Felipe Coutinho? Because that is exactly where Coutinho does play, which is the attacking midfield role. He can also shift his position onto the left, but if we are talking about formation wise, Griezmann could be taking Coutinho's role. So could Coutinho potentially find himself in the same problem like he did 2 years ago? And this is what gets very interesting, right? Because I did explain in my IG lives and my TikTok lives, and I was talking about the Bayern situation and their bench. Because if we look at Bayern Munich's bench, you can easily make another world-class starting 11 with the players that they did have sitting in that bench. But one of the best things that Bayern Munich does that I greatly applaud them for is that they use these players correctly. Every player in that bench does play. They understand their roles well, which means that they are effective. And if you are effective, if you do contribute in whatever way, when you do come into that pitch, that player is going to be happy. The most extreme of this situation was when Coutinho did come in the 80th minute and he scored 2 goals and provided 1 assist in 10 minutes. Do you not think that a player is going to be happy after that performance? And I think that that is what Barcelona and Koeman do need to communicate to Coutinho. He has to say, look, you can come into this squad. You might not start. There's going to be occasions where you're going to be starting. There's going to be occasions where you're not going to be starting. You're going to be rotating with Antoine Griezmann. But I can promise you one thing is that you will understand your role. You will be placed in the right position. And when you do understand your role and you know your role, you are going to be effective. You will get your goals. You will get your assists. You will be performing at the performance that you're supposed to be performing at. And if Koeman can do that to Felipe Coutinho, I don't see Coutinho rejecting this offer. I do see Coutinho wearing the FC Barcelona shirt next season. But that is it, right? These are the 3 players that do have a point to prove with Barcelona next season. 2 of these players of the 3 that I have mentioned have been seen as a waste of money. They have been seen as players who were not supposed to supposedly come to FC Barcelona, and they were also seen as transfers that should have never happened. But that is why I say, and I continue to say, that it is going to be up to Koeman and it is going to be his responsibility to show why Barcelona signed these players, to show why these players are capable enough to be a success in this club. Because then if you do get the best out of these 3 players, you will already complete the job of rebirthing a new Barcelona. And that is how you transition away from the old era, because the quality is there. I don't want people thinking that Barcelona has no quality, that Barcelona is going to continue to be AC Milan or Manchester United. Barcelona is not going to go through that route. The quality is there. We have the players. We must pay these players the respect. We know what they can do and we know that they can bring it to Barcelona. And again, these players are going to have my full backing. I'm going to continue to support these players until their very last match. So that'll be it for today's Barcelona video. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you think are the players that do have a point to prove in Barcelona next season? And who are going to be the players that are going to be fundamental to Koeman's FC Barcelona? So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. Thank you guys for watching and I will see you guys in the next video.